Hello, everybody. I'm Chandler.
And I'm Celeste.
And this is
True North Terror. Welcome back.
Welcome back, folks.
Did I tell you that? So I guess mom and dad were listening in mom's car the other day. Mom didn't realize that she had her podcast on like half speed. Dad was like, "What is wrong with Celeste? Like, is she high?" And my mom's like, "I don't know, maybe."
All my podcasts sound like this.
Maybe, but yeah, and then she figured out that all of her podcasts been playing on like half speed.
Oh my god.
It's like, how do you listen to that?
I feel like we're already so slow.
I know. I feel because I naturally talk super fast, so I try to like slow down.
Well, my last episode was an hour.
Yeah, but there was a lot of information.
It would turn it, you'd be listening for 2 hours.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine?
Not 2 hours.
Half speed.
Yeah.
It would double it.
That's math.
The longest podcasts I listen to ever are during the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Because the hockey podcast I listen to uploads 4-hour episodes.
What?
Yeah. But
That's a long
there's
time.
a ton of stuff they cover, and they have like 2 or 3 interviews per episode with like NHL players or like
That's
coaches.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's a lot because they're recapping
so many games
every week, right?
Yeah. Wow.
The later into the playoffs they get a little shorter, but
yeah,
like the first week of the playoffs, there's like 2 episodes a week and they're both 4 hours long.
Jeez Louise.
It's a lot.
That would be so much work.
That's why I only listen to them during the playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be so much work. Is it just a hockey podcast?
Yeah.
Or is it like all Canadian sports?
No, just hockey. They touch on like next week they'll touch on the Grey Cup quickly.
Oh yeah.
Or like
when is the Grey Cup?
This Friday. No. There's parties this Friday.
Sunday usually?
It's this weekend, I think.
Who's even playing?
Not us.
Well.
But it's here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's how it works.
Yeah, like you bid on year.
Yeah, each team gets a chance to host it. Alouettes and the Rough Riders. So
who's the Alouettes?
That's
that sounds Montreal or something.
Montreal. Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, I can't find water. Oh, I dropped it. Okay. Okay.
Away from the sports talk. What are you covering this week?
I'm covering a really brutal murder, a moiter. Yes. Shout out to my friends Lindsay and Jill who recommended this case. I had never heard of it before. We were talking about the pod at the dog show this past weekend, and they were like just rapid fire giving me cases, and I was like, holy smokes. So I have a list from them.
Seriously.
Which is great. But yeah, Jill's brother is actually a funeral director.
Whoa.
So he gets a lot of the like bodies and stuff. This is before his time of doing that, but it's a really interesting case, and it actually has an exoneration. Whoa. So you can tell me at the end if you think justice was served or not.
Interesting.
Yes.
This will be fun.
And it's in Manitoba.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right at home.
Yeah. So our case takes place in 1990. Just after 10 a.m. on Sunday, June 24th, 1990, 2 cyclists were out enjoying a beautiful summer day. They were cycling the trails around Birch Ski Resort near Rose Isle, Manitoba, when they came across a gruesome discovery. At first, they assumed it was just a mannequin. It's never a mannequin. They
say that in every fucking case.
I know. I'm like,
how often is there a fucking mannequin on the side of the road?
Not even the side of the road. This is like submerged in a creek.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not a mannequin, boys.
So first they assumed it was a mannequin. They parked their bikes and walked closer to the edge of the creek. One of them grabbed a stick and poked it.
Ugh.
I feel like that's bad karma. But this was no mannequin. This was the nude, mutilated, and completely unrecognizable body of 16-year-old Brigitte Grenier,
Oh.
half submerged in muddy water. The cyclists hopped back on their bikes and sped back to the resort for help. Quickly, the RCMP descended to the scene, roping off an area and securing the grisly crime scene. They quickly discovered clothing nearby her body and found 2 sets of ID in her pocket: 16-year-old Brigitte Grenier and 18-year-old Mariette Grenier. They assumed the girls were sisters, but the body was so badly beaten and bloodied they couldn't even tell which one of the girls it was. So before the sun set that night, they were able to get into contact with the Grenier family and discovered it was Brigitte. Brigitte was described as a beautiful, sweet, popular girl who was adored by literally everyone. She was in grade 11, attending Miami Collegiate, and was the school council president. She was a theater gal. She loved kids. She spent her spare time tutoring younger kids. The RCMP quickly realized that this was not going to be an easy case to solve, despite Rose Isle being a very small community. Bridget and her friends were attending a music festival
Oh.
at Birch Ski Resort that brought people in from all over. It was called Woodsticks, like a play on Woodstock.
Wood sticks.
They assumed the vicious killer was a concert goer, but with so many strange faces from out of town, their suspect pool was immense.
Yikes.
The concert was only 20 kilometers from Bridget's home. Her and her friends arrived on Friday, June 22nd, for the first annual Woodstock Music Festival. It was advertised as a combination of country and rock and roll. Bridget's parents knew the event was going to be very well organized, like it was the talk of the town, with lots of security guards, and also alcohol wasn't served on the premises.
Okay.
So they assumed she'd be safe to be camping with her friends at the event. Investigators knew they had to move quickly. It was already Sunday, and most of the concert goers were either headed home or were going to be heading home shortly.
Right.
They interviewed hundreds of people, gathering witness statements and searching for any information as to who could have done this to Bridget, or at least establish a timeline of the evening of June 22nd. Witnesses said that Bridget and her friends arrived at Birch Ski Resort late in the evening and met up with more friends from their school. Like I said, the venue was not selling alcohol, but teenagers be teenagers. They just brought their
Sneak it
own
in.
to pass around. Bridget and her friends drank and danced around, taking in the music around them and just having a good time. Like, there is nothing like a music festival when you're a teenager. It's
Yeah.
so fun, especially outdoors, like beginning of summer. Like, this is probably the weekend that school ended.
Right.
So you're just like friggin' ready to go. Kyle Unger, a 19-year-old classmate, was one of the witnesses that people spoke to, and he had a lot to say. He decided last minute with his friend John to hitchhike from their hometown of Carmen to the music festival, which was about a 23-minute drive away. Kyle was a quiet guy who got bullied often, had a really hard time making friends. He did have a really bad temper. And he had actually previously been kicked out of school for violence. And he was not a part of the popular crowd. Like, people kind of described him as someone that people feared because he just like had a crazy temper.
That guy.
Yeah, he's
And
a
his name is
Kyle.
Kyle. Yeah.
He's a Kyle.
Smashing
No offense,
monsters and
Kyles.
punching holes in walls.
Yeah.
Good one, Kyle.
Kyle and John arrived later into the night when the party was already wild. They had a couple of drinks and then went and played some football, but Kyle's drunk temper got the best of him, and they decided to go for a walk around instead for a while. They found Bridget and her friends sitting on the grass and chatted with them for a few minutes. They had, like, Kyle and Bridget hadn't seen each other for quite a while, and Kyle described Bridget as someone who was always really nice to him and stood up for him when other kids were giving him a hard time.
Okay.
Like, just the best.
Yeah, nice
He's a
girl.
complete, like, dick to everyone, gets bullied, and she's nice to him.
That's nice.
Yeah. After chatting with Bridget for a while, Kyle and his friend John decided to go and play some more football. Kyle was pretty drunk at this point. He got really heated. Like, the more he drank, the harder he played. And some other witnesses said that they had to sit on Kyle after a scrap with another player. So they
Oh, boy.
basically, they wore out their welcome. They were like, okay, get out of here. Kyle said that shortly after midnight, he worked up enough courage and decided to go look for Brigitte because he had a little crush on her.
Mm.
So he was looking for her to dance, but instead he found Brigitte dancing with a 17-year-old, Timothy Houlihan. Timothy attended Miami Collegiate, but was not known to Brigitte or Kyle. Like, Roselle, Miami, Carmen is just kind of like all close towns.
Yeah.
So
All
like you
east
probably
of
are
Winnipeg.
playing high school sports against each
Yeah.
other, but if you're not like involved, you wouldn't know each other.
No.
Kyle watched as Brigitte and Timothy danced together and kissed. Other witnesses said that Timothy had his hands all over Brigitte. He was annoyed and jealous, so went to join another group at a bonfire. Bridgette's friends were ready to go and tried to convince her to leave with them, but she was having such a great time with Tim and told them she would find another ride home. Her last words to her friends were, "I'm a virgin now and I still will be tomorrow when I see you." So they were like, okay, well, I guess she can hold her own. Like, she has no plans to be crazy tonight.
I guess.
Around 1:30, witnesses said that Brigitte and Timothy snuck off into the woods behind the grandstand where the band was playing. It was pretty heavily wooded.
Okay.
Wooded.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Around that time, Kyle also left his group, saying he had to go to the washroom. When he returned, he complained to his friend John that he was upset and annoyed because when he had gone to the washroom, he saw Brigitte going at it with some other guy. He had a really long time crush on Brigitte and was trying to work up the courage that night to ask her either to have a dance or a date. Police later asked John how long he thought Kyle was gone for. He reported probably about 20 minutes, but other witnesses reported that Kyle was gone for several hours. All witnesses agreed that Kyle returned in the same clothes, did not have any dirt, scratches, or blood on him. The music ended around 2:30 in the morning, and Kyle told John that he was going to find someone to hook up with. About 30 minutes later, he returned telling John he got what he was after. But I guess Kyle was like a bit of a storyteller, especially when it came to the gals.
Mm.
So John was like, "Sure, Kyle.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a quick lay and you're ready to go."
Yeah.
Like, sure, Kyle.
Get real.
So Kyle and John left the festival at around 4:30 in the morning. They hitched a ride with some friends back to John's house. John said that Kyle had a hot dog and then went to sleep. When police asked Timothy's friends about his whereabouts for the evening, they said he went off with Brigitte at around 1:30 and then returned back to the group around 4 in the morning. So like 2.5 hours, unaccounted for. When he returned, he was covered in blood, mud, and had scratches on his face.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious who the fuck did it.
Yeah, don't be suspicious.
Yeah.
So concerned.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Jesus, way to fucking bury the lead there.
So his friends were like, "Wow, Tim, what happened to you?" And he was like, "Yeah, I was hooking up with a girl and then I was attacked from behind and I was knocked unconscious. And when I came to, the girl was gone already and I was just alone in the woods."
No.
So they're like, "Okay." So his friend said he was like kind of weird for a bit, like a little quiet and like zoned out, but he eventually was back to himself. He continued to party and drink really heavily. And before leaving the resort in the morning, he stopped by the entrance and set fire to a barrel with unknown contents. At around 10 a.m. is when...
Bridget was found nude?
Yes. You're listening. Good for you. At around 10 a.m. is when Bridget's body was discovered by the cyclists. They went back to the RCMP or to the resort, reporting what they found, and a festival employee called the RCMP, Constable Ron Muir, was the first on scene. Bridget's body was carefully loaded and taken to St. Boniface Hospital in Winnipeg for an autopsy to be performed. The autopsy revealed that Brigitte had really, really horrific final moments. She had several blunt force trauma wounds to her head. Long, sharp sticks had been brutally forced into her vagina and anus. And then ultimately, she had been strangled to death.
Jesus.
The coroner also found bite marks on her breasts and arms that were superficial, so they didn't
Bite?
bite.
Oh, like Bundy.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they were superficial, so they didn't like bleed.
Yeah,
but there was like an
skin.
It was like a
almost
like an
breaking skin?
impression of teeth.
Yeah. Okay.
And they did determine that those did happen when she was still alive. The coroner determined that it was very likely that she was already dead or at least unconscious from her head injury when the rapes occurred.
Oh, okay.
There were no defensive wounds apparent on Brigitte, so basically they assumed that this was like a completely surprise attack. They probably hit her over the head with something really hard, quickly incapacitated her, and then assaulted her. After extensive interviews of the police or the police goers, the festival goers, the RCMP had their sights on two suspects, Kyle Unger and Timothy Houlihan. Although at first Kyle was not really a suspect, but they saw him like as a really good witness because
Right.
everyone saw them chatting for a while,
Yeah.
and they were known to each other. Kyle was super cooperative and forthcoming. He said, "Yeah, I know Brigitte. I saw her that night. We chatted for a bit, and then I saw her with some other guy." He also willingly submitted dental impressions and strands of his hair for forensics. Forensics.
See, now sometimes the killer is too helpful,
Yeah.
but I don't think he did it. There's no fucking way.
Okay. Well, you just wait till you hear Timothy's story.
Timothy sounds like a lying piece of shit.
Sorry, I tried to drink my water.
It's okay.
Timothy was only 17. He had both his parents and a lawyer present for his statements to police.
Yeah, he's fucking guilty.
And he stuck to his original story that he had told his friends. He went to the woods to hook up with Brigitte around 1:30. They had consensual sex, but then he was attacked and knocked out. He described his attacker, and the police thought, like, okay, maybe this was Kyle because everyone knew that Kyle had a crush on Brigitte, and Kyle said that he saw Timothy and Brigitte going into the woods. But police showed Timothy a photo of Kyle, and Timothy's like, nah, that wasn't him. And at this point, the police also observed several scratch marks on Timothy's face. So Timothy was released. He returned the next day for more questioning and had a lot more information all of a sudden to give police. Just magically thought of all of these things.
Actually, guys, I remembered this.
Yeah, so this
It's
time,
so crazy.
he said that Kyle was his attacker.
Yeah, I bet.
So
Fucking
he
asshole.
said, Timothy said that him and Brigitte were having consensual sex when Kyle appeared and violently attacked him. He said he witnessed Kyle beating Brigitte, strangling her, and dragging her down to the creek. Timothy said Kyle told him to punch Brigitte, and he said he was fearful for his own life, so he did what he was told, punching her. He said he watched as Kyle raped Brigitte with sticks and continued beating her. When Brigitte was finally lifeless, Kyle demanded that Timothy help him hide Bridgette's body and threatened him to be silent. To which I say, you were at a festival, like not far from many people.
Yeah.
And who would ask a stranger to help them kill someone?
No.
Like,
And what's he gonna fucking do?
yeah, like just yeah.
He doesn't
sure.
know you.
No,
He doesn't
exactly.
know where you live. Go get help.
Yeah, yeah.
No, he's
So
fucking guilty.
Timothy is sus. On June 29th, less than a week after Bridgette's body was found, both Kyle and Timothy were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. A few weeks later, Timothy was released into his parents' custody and given permission to return to class.
Gotta learn.
However, Kyle was held
Kids
in
gotta
custody
learn.
and denied bail.
Fuck off.
Months passed, and the prosecutors struggled to build a case against Kyle. The forensic evidence and Timothy's story just didn't match up. Kyle returned to his friends clean and scratch-free, whereas Timothy returned hours later full of blood, mud, and scratches. Since Brigitte also had bite marks on her arms and breasts, a forensic odontologist concluded that they did not match the dental impression provided by Kyle. But Timothy would not provide a dental impression.
Guilty.
Plus, like we said, why would Kyle force Timothy, who he had never met before, to help him kill Brigitte?
No.
Like,
not gonna happen.
You would never trust some rando with that.
No.
Yeah. So, also, like we said, he could have easily ran back to the festival for help. So, a preliminary hearing was set for December 11th, 1990.
Wait. He said he was attacked.
Yep.
Did they check him for injuries?
Timothy, it doesn't
He
sound
had
like it. Like, he had the
scratches,
scratch.
but there wasn't any like blunt force trauma.
No, and, like, they were arrested, or not arrested, but, like,
They were
questioned
questioned
very
within
quickly.
a few days.
Yeah, less than
They would
that,
have
like,
checked
within
his head
24
for like a
hours.
bump or something.
Yeah. No.
Fucking Carmen.
A preliminary hearing was set for December 11th of 1990. The Crown issued a stay of proceedings due to lack of evidence for Kyle, so he was free to go. Timothy was moved to the adult courts due to the severity of the crime,
There you go.
and was held this time. So, but still, the investigators had their sights set on Kyle. They were convinced that he was a murderer, and they were on a mission to prove it. Instead of letting the evidence tell the story, they were going to.
West Memphis 3.
Yeah. The RCMP started to interview some of the inmates that were in prison with Kyle, prodding them for information, hoping they would find someone that they could use against Kyle. Many of them are willing to testify against Kyle because, like, what inmate isn't? They're like, sure, if I can get out of jail, like, jail
Yeah.
free card, please.
Give me some cigarettes and I'll tell you what's going on.
Yeah. But all of their stories were different, and the prosecutors were concerned about their reliability. But there was one inmate that was actually Kyle's, like, cellmate, and his name was Jeffrey Cohen. He claimed that when Kyle returned after his charges were dropped, he boasted that he killed her and got away with it. But an inmate confession wasn't going to be enough to charge Kyle. So the RCMP were like, you know what we need to do? Launch a Mr. Big operation.
There you go.
Yeah. So Mr. Big operations are super controversial. It's basically like an officer or officers go undercover. They usually form like a crime syndicate, and then one person like befriends the person that they think is guilty, and then introduces them to like the Mr. Big, like the head boss of the
head
crime
honcho.
syndicate. And they're like, we want to help you make money, but you need to be like really honest about your past so that we know we can trust you. So in many other countries, including the US, a Mr. Big operation is considered entrapment because you're literally like entrapping someone to give you information that may or may not be true because they want to make money and be included.
Yeah.
So in June of 1991, 4 officers went undercover, determined to get a confession out of Kyle. Kyle had moved away at this point. He relocated to Austin, Manitoba, which is like way more northwest.
Yeah. It's like on the other side.
Yeah.
Carmen's east.
Yeah, like southeast.
Yeah. And then Austin is.
It's near Brandon, isn't it?
No, Brandon's also east.
No, Brandon's west.
No. Oh, shit. Never mind. West. Carmen's west.
Don't you like
Southwest.
drive around for a living?
Yeah, I was thinking backwards. Carmen's west. Southwest.
Do you know the story of when I was in grade 9 and we had to label like the Canadian map?
No.
And it was like completely blank, and I got Saskatchewan and Manitoba mixed up. And my
That's where
teacher,
you live.
yes, my teacher, Mr. Lopez, straight up called me out in the class.
Oh no.
He was like, everyone got 100% on the map, looks at me, except for one person who got Saskatchewan and Manitoba mixed up.
Oh no.
I was like, thanks, Tony. Like, way to call me out in front of the whole class. Yeah, so like I never lived that down. Even yeah. And there was another time that I was like trying to figure out how long it was to get somewhere, and I just like completely forgot about Saskatchewan, but
no, fair enough.
Whatevs. I mean, yeah, for
It is
real.
what it is.
Like, you blink and you miss it. It's so boring.
No offense, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, we love our country, but like Saskatchewan is the boring.
Grass.
So 2 of the undercover officers drove a rundown camper and pretended to break down in the driveway of the farm where Kyle was working. And Kyle noticed them, and he was like, hey, would you like some help? Because Kyle's a nice guy, question mark. And so undercover officer Larry Tremblay and Kyle were just chatting like about fixing up the camper, and They ended up making plans to hang out. Larry's like, "Hey, I'm new here. I'm just going through town."
Mm.
And Kyle's like, "Yeah, I want to be friends." Anyways, so Kyle and Larry continued on with the week, chatting and hanging out. Larry slowly started to gain Kyle's trust, and Kyle told Larry several times that he was wrongfully imprisoned for murder. But Larry was like, "I'm going to play the long game. I need to do this right." And he just never asked for any details. He wasn't like, "What? Who? What? When? Why?
Mhm.
How?" No. So instead of prying for details, why is this not staying up? That's
It's
what she said.
falling,
That's what she said.
Michael.
Micah Scott. Larry offered Kyle an opportunity to make a lot of money, and Kyle fell for it. Kyle was like, probably drugs, but like, probably don't care, you know?
Yeah.
Larry had been super generous, getting Kyle like a fancy hotel room and buying his meals, earning his trust. Like, just, he was just like spoiling him, just
Yeah.
love bombing him. On June
Sugar
20th,
daddy.
yes, Larry the sugar daddy. On June 22nd, 1991, exactly a year after the murder of Bridget, Larry introduced Kyle to Mr. Big, aka Undercover Officer Corporal Larry Forbes.
Larry and Larry.
Larry. I wonder if I got that wrong. Anyways,
It's all
um,
good. I'm gonna call him Larry and Larry.
little Larry
Little Larry
explained
and Big Larry.
that he was the boss of a massive crime ring. And he was like, "Okay, so I'm going to take you to meet Mr. Big. He's a big deal. Um, you can make a lot of money real quick, but you need to be completely honest with him." And so Mr. Big approached Kyle saying, "Larry told me you whacked somebody. That's fine with me. That's fucking excellent. It's the kind of thing that I know that I'm dealing with somebody that I can trust. That's the kind of person I'm looking for."
Mm,
Everyone's looking for a murderer.
apparently.
Desperate.
Hello, fellow youths.
Yeah.
How are we today? Like,
He's like, "Do not be suspicious."
yeah.
Desperate for an opportunity to make quick cash, Kyle went along with it. He
Oh
was
boy.
like, "Yeah, I murdered this girl, Brigitte Grenier, and I acted completely alone. This guy, Timothy, he had nothing to do with it."
Yikes, buddy.
And the undercover police officers are like, "Yes." Little did Kyle know they had caught it all on tape,
Yeah.
but they needed more. So on June 23rd, they asked Kyle to take them to the crime scene and tell them how it happened. So Kyle was like, "Yeah, sure, dudes." So they went to the crime scene, but Kyle wasn't really able to relay any details other than what was reported and shared to the public.
Mm,
And like he got a few of the details wrong as well. They were like, "Oh, well, like what did you use to rape her?" And he was like, and they're like, Sticks?" He's like, "Yes.
yeah.
Yes, those." Like that was,
Reaching.
yeah,
Reaching hard.
that was
Yikes.
that was the kind of like that was the vibe.
That's not good.
But the investigators didn't care. They were like, "Guilty." So they arrested and charged Kyle again with first degree murder on June 25th. Um, and I just can't like imagine poor Kyle's like, "Dang,
Fucking Larry.
goddamn Larry, I thought I
Damn
was
it, I
gonna make some money.
trusted
Like you wined and dined me."
fucker.
Yeah.
Well, at least he took him to dinner before he fucked him.
Yeah. And got him a nice hotel room.
Yeah.
On January 19 or in January 1992, brought the joint murder trial of Kyle and Timothy. Joint trial.
Joint.
So naturally, both the defenses are like, "He did it."
Yeah.
Nah, he did it.
No, he did it.
Yeah, they're like, "No, he did it alone." And Timothy's defense said that Kyle acted completely alone. Timothy was actually a victim. He was like so scared because he couldn't get any help. And he's like, "I had to punch her because he told me to, and I was so scared."
Pussy. Not true.
And Kyle's defense claimed that Timothy was the sole attacker, and Kyle's involvement was only brought up by Timothy after police implicated him by literally showing a picture of Kyle and being like, "Was this him?"
Yeah.
So the prosecutors argued that Kyle and Timothy had acted together. They told the jury a story of Timothy luring Bridget into the woods, demanding sex, but then her turning him down. He attempted to rape her, but she fought back. Then Kyle showed up only minutes later, joining the attack because he also wanted to rape Brigitte.
Ugh.
So he was like, "Oh, you're trying? You need help? Oh, sure. Like, I will help you so that I can also do that to her." Like, no. So they beat her, assaulted her, strangled her, and dumped her body together, and then returning to their separate groups at the festival, acting like nothing ever happened.
But only one had blood. Excuse me. Only one had blood and only one burnt the fucking evidence.
Yes.
Sure.
And Kyle was gone for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The forensic evidence was telling a much different story, though, and it was a really confusing one. So there was a single hair found on Bridget's sweater, which she had borrowed from a friend, that was microscopically consistent with the sample provided by Kyle. But this is pre-DNA.
Mm.
So they're just like looking at it under a microscope. They're like, yep, human, not dog. Brown, not blonde. Like, they're not.
Could be fucking anybody's.
Yeah. There was also a pubic hair collected off of Bridget's sock that was consistent with Timothy's, but not Kyle's. And there is blood found in Timothy's shoes that was consistent with Bridget's blood. But shocker, no blood was ever found on Kyle's clothing or clothes. Clothing or clothes.
Huh.
Clothing or shoes.
Huh. I wonder why.
The prosecutor's case was largely dependent on both Timothy and Kyle's confessions, but both confessions were not really reliable or
No.
accurate. So the RCMP reported that Timothy's description of the attacker did not resemble Kyle at all. Kyle's confession was even less reliable since the Mr. Big operation coerced him into a confession,
Entrapment.
but he was unable to give any details of the crime. And then there was also the inmate testimony that claimed Kyle said he killed her and got away with it. But once on the stand, Mr. Jeffrey, the cellmate, was like, yeah, JK, I actually lied. And Kyle's lawyer was like, yeah, dog, you did, because he didn't even return to the remand center after his charges were stayed. So he didn't even see.
How the fuck did they even think about taking that?
And like, yeah, how did it even get to this point?
That's ridiculous.
The shady thing is that when they played the confession of Kyle to the Mr. Big operation, they didn't like explain to the jury like this is a Mr. Big operation, like we coerced him.
Yeah.
So it was just like all super sketch.
It's reaching.
Yeah. And ultimately, the jury was
far.
still convinced, and both Kyle and Timothy were both convicted of first-degree murder on February 28th, 1992.
Oh.
Naturally, they both appealed their convictions. I'm a mess. Hoping for acquittals or at least separate trials, which would make more sense. In July of 1994, Timothy was granted a new trial. His lawyer claimed that Kyle's defense had prejudiced the jury against him. He was released on bail as he awaited his new trial, but he actually completed suicide a year later, taking anything and everything he knew with him to the grave.
He was guilty.
Yeah, I agree.
What a fucking coward.
Kyle's appeal was denied, but he didn't give up. He maintained his innocence as he files appeal after appeal, even attempting to appeal under the Supreme Court of Canada. Jeez. But was denied yet again. It would be a full year before Kyle would be given another chance at freedom. When I say full year, I mean full decade. In 2002, another case caught the eye of a nonprofit organization, Innocence Canada. The case was against James Driscoll. Innocence Canada is basically like a group of pro bono lawyers that review cases that potentially have people convicted of crimes they did not commit. And especially at this time when DNA forensics were starting to like be enhanced, they were looking at a lot of cases that had like single hairs as evidence,
Right.
or so James had been convicted of the murder of his best friend, and just like Kyle's case, it basically relied on just a few hairs. So Innocence Canada had the hairs tested with the new DNA technology, proving that none of the hairs were this other guy, James, in his trial. and in April 2003, he was fully exonerated.
Wow.
This basically started like a huge ripple effect. The Manitoba government wondered if, maybe there's more cases that should be reviewed with these advances in technology.
Probably.
Yes. So they set up a forensic review committee to investigate other cases where the new DNA testing might prove the facts, especially when it came to hairs being identified under the microscope, like Kyle's case.
Right.
In 2004, the committee started their review of Kyle's case. They were able to complete a mitochondrial DNA typing on the hair found on Bridget's borrowed sweater. The results came back and
Negative.
not Kyle's hair.
Yeah.
So, literally eliminating the only piece of evidence tying him to this brutal crime.
Except for the fucking entrapment.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
crazy.
So, Innocence Canada filed an official request in September of 2004 to review Kyle's case. And in November of 2005, he was released on bail while his case was carefully reviewed. In 2009, so after his case has been opened up again 4 years later, he was finally granted a new trial. Federal Justice Minister Rob Nicholson put out a statement saying, "I am satisfied there is no reasonable basis to conclude that a miscarriage of justice likely occurred in Mr. Unger's 1992 conviction." So he's like,
exonerated.
yeah. So it now fell on to the Manitoba. I'm such a mess tonight. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
The case now fell on to the Manitoba.
Manitoba.
Can you say it for me?
Manitoban.
Attorney General. It's because it has the E at the end of attorney.
Mm.
Manitoba Attorney General. There we go.
There you go.
To prosecute the case. But there was not enough evidence to even bring him to a trial. So finally, in October 2009, the first-degree murder charges were completely withdrawn against Kyle. And after 17
years.
long years in prison.
He was 17 when he got arrested.
No,
Or
he was
16.
19. He
was 19. I thought he was 17 too. Oh, he was a little bit older than Bridget and Timothy?
Yeah.
Because Bridget was 16.
Yeah, he was either 19
Timothy
or
was
20,
17.
but I feel like I'm pretty sure he was 19. So, yeah, he spent like literally pretty much half his life in jail.
Wow. That's
I don't
terrible.
know why this keeps falling down. Bridget's family was devastated. They were convinced of Kyle's guilt. Which,
how the like?
but
I'm
you
sure,
want someone to
I'm
blame.
sure it's so impossible to put. Like, I can't even imagine putting myself in their shoes. But like, there's no evidence other than this guy kind of gets angry sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
look at the other evidence. Timothy is such a clear fucking
suspect.
Like,
I think
how can you just look past that?
part of the problem was, I think, just like Timothy came from a well-respected, well-off family and Kyle didn't.
I figured. I wasn't gonna ask.
Yeah.
But I figured.
Yeah. And I think the other piece of it is just like they knew that Kyle knew Bridget, and I'm sure her friends were suspicious of Kyle because like they knew that he had a crush on her.
Yeah.
They had seen them talking. But also like you also saw this Timothy guy chatting with her and making out with her and then like going behind the stands with her. So
And then didn't get what he wanted, so then he fucking killed her.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
Bridget's father, Ron, told CBC that their family was completely destroyed. There would never be any closure knowing how his daughter had to spend her final moments. In 2019, Kyle sued the province of Manitoba. They reached a settlement for an undisclosed amount intended to compensate Kyle for his wrongful time behind bars.
Damn.
I hope he's like a multimillionaire from that.
I hope so too. Because I feel for this guy. Like,
even if you get out, like you still are going to be seen as the guy that did it.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah.
And like, I haven't been convicted of crimes, but I was very much the kid with like anger issues when I was younger.
Yeah, true.
I had some serious fucking behavioral issues, and I'm better now, or I try to be better now. So I like I feel for this guy. That sucks.
Yeah,
If I
it
was
makes you
put in the same
sad.
situation,
Yeah.
and as soon as you're like, oh, he showed up with his parents and a lawyer, I'm like, okay, fucking, his dad's probably a pencil pusher, owns a fucking tech business or something, and Kyle's working on a farm.
Yeah.
This blue collar guy who probably had no help with the cops.
Yeah, and I think it's also, like, a good lesson is even if you're not guilty, lawyer up.
Yeah.
As soon as you get brought in for questioning by police.
Well, he probably didn't know any better.
No, because he was like, "I am helping."
Yeah.
Yeah, but if he was.
He didn't know any better that the cops were trying to fuck him,
Yeah,
because they will.
yeah, I
And
think.
when you think, oh, the government won't do this to me.
Yeah,
Oh
they
yeah, they
will.
will. Oh yeah, they will.
I think it really was a case of him being like, "Oh my god, Bridget is dead. She was so nice.
Yeah,
Like,
he
she's one of
clearly
the
really
only
liked her.
people that was kind to me, and I need to help the police figure out what happened."
Yeah. Fuck.
But
Damn.
yeah, he was just like he was so forthcoming from the very beginning. Um, he now lives a really quiet life in British Columbia. In 2018, he did one last interview with the Winnipeg Free Press where he went back to the Birch Ski Resort where it all began 3 decades earlier.
Wow.
He reflected, looking at it, there's an incredible emotion of regret. This is one of the chains of where my life changed. I feel a little sickened, wishing I never even went to the party, anger that I even went to it. We got there, the sun was almost completely down. We were only there for a short time. I wish I'd left a few more hours earlier.
Man. Oh, and he probably felt like shit all night because the
Yeah,
girl he had a crush on
I
was
know. Like,
kissing and dancing with some other dude.
yeah,
I felt like that before. Where like
yeah,
you
because
want
you
to go
like have
talk
a
to a
crush and you
girl.
finally like worked up the courage, and then you go to ask them to dance, and like there was someone
And
else. You're
you're like,
like, oh
fuck.
dang it, yeah.
Ruin your night. And then you keep seeing them and you're like, fuck.
I know,
Like that
just like
sucks.
right in your face.
Ruined his whole night and then fucking gets thrown in jail a few days later. Like that. Oh,
And like 17 years, that is
that is.
such a long time.
Yeah, I hope he's a multimillionaire, but if he's living in BC, he's probably broke now. Probably spent all his money on his house.
Yeah, in BC.
Like, it's so fucking expensive to live out
It's
there.
crazy. I don't blame him for leaving though. I wouldn't want to stay here.
No. I mean, like, he could have gone to somewhere else in Manitoba, but
Mm.
it
It was
was probably
such a
pretty
big case.
publicized, hey?
It was such a big case. Like my friends,
Like, your friends knew her, right?
um,
Or
they
that's what you were saying the other night?
I don't know that they knew her, but they knew of her. Like this
Right.
was a big case when they. So Jill is 10 years older than me.
So she would have been.
So in 85. She would have
Sh-
been young. She would have been like only 6.
si- yeah.
Yeah. And Lindsay's a little bit older than that. So, but like they, even as like young, obviously young people, they remember it. And I think since like Kyle was exonerated, that was like the talk of the town. And they would have been
Yeah.
like older at that point.
Well, that would have been in 2003. No. 2003, they reopened the case. 2009,
Yeah, 2009, he was exonerated.
exonerated. So they were obviously like
That's not even that
into
long
their.
ago.
Were they into their 20s by then?
Yeah,
So
because
they would have been fucking. That would have been like every family
yeah.
dinner. Like, you remember that thing that happened at the
Mhm.
music festival? Blah blah blah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, talk of the town. Yeah, like everyone, I don't know that people. It's interesting because like when they were telling me about the case, the way, and like they couldn't really remember very many details.
Hmm.
The way that they were talking to me about it, I was like, okay, like these two guys did this to her.
Right.
So I don't know like what the perspective or the perception or the
Perceived
assumption still is in the
in
community about
yeah.
his involvement, because like I went into it not like I went into it knowing that he was exonerated,
Hmm.
but I went into it thinking, okay, he was exonerated and he was guilty, but he obviously was not guilty.
No.
So I feel like maybe the vibe
Yeah.
and the assumption is still that he was guilty, but after like reading and everything, I don't believe that he
Well,
was guilty for a minute.
that's us coming out from an outside perspective of the community,
Yeah, like, we didn't know
having
him, so
that perception for 17 years while he was in prison
yeah, it's hard to
is a
change your
lot
opinion
different.
overnight on someone. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Wowzers.
just the fact that Timothy killed himself,
Yeah,
come the fuck on.
I know. I agree. Like, sure, I'm sure he had a terrible time in prison, and, like, he was charged as an adult. I'm sure he had a terrible time in prison,
Did you go to
but
Stony?
I couldn't find anywhere where they served.
Probably Stony.
Yeah, you would think, because it would have been somewhere in Manitoba so that they could, like, do their, trials.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I think he was guilty. He didn't wanna go back to prison, and he was like, "I'm 100% going back to prison."
Yeah.
So he was like, "Well."
Fuck
I
it.
also just, like, fuck you, Timothy. The last good thing you could have done was write out a note with a confession.
Yeah.
Like, you knew that you put someone else in prison for a crime that you knew they did not
Fucking
commit.
coward.
Yeah, and, like, give Bridget's family the peace of knowing exactly what happened and who did it, and Kyle's family
Yeah.
peace of, like, okay, he is not guilty, but I just, like, what a little bitch.
Yeah. Spit on your grave. Fuck you, man.
Yeah, rest in distress.
Fucking coward.
Yeah,
That's
agreed.
brutal.
And he just looked like a little bitch of a coward
I
too.
bet.
Yeah,
Fucking loser.
agreed.
Jeez, I got heated there for a second.
Yeah, your anger issues are much better now.
I'm not throwing the mic. But wow, that was quite the case.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back next week, and hopefully I'll be able to form words.
There you go.
At least you'll be talking.
Yeah, no promises though. I might be having an aneurysm. We'll see. But stay spooky, True Northers.
Terror is closer than you think.
Very nice.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of True North Terror. If you like our podcast, please help us grow by leaving a rating and review. If you have a story you want us to hear, or your own personal story you want to hear on the pod as a listener story, email us at truenorthterrorpod@gmail.com. Join us next week for another episode of True North Terror.